Okay, so this is the second demonstration, and I just felt like I wanted to do something kind of really just to do another demonstration actually, because I think there's some people here for the first time and it might be a bit much. But if you want to go back, if you're here, a lot of you have. Sheena's like, what are you trying to say? You know, you can sit, you can go back and work with. Please do. Yeah. Lily, are you okay to sit again? I know it's not very much of a break, but you're alright. It's actually 18 minutes. Is that okay? And then you can have a 7-minute break, and then we'll stop for lunch. And I'll get you a nice cake at lunchtime. You want it? Sorry. Okay, so maybe I'll do an eye and just a bit more detail in the features. So Lily, I've set the alarm now, so it's actually just about 15 minutes now. So let's just check out the position. I want to make sure that your position is right as well, Evie, so let's see. I know it's pretty one after the other, but
Can I switch this off?
oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a bit noisy. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you come back after a little break, you might find that you want to take ownership over the work again and do something kind of clear. Like I feel like there are certain things that I'm looking at there now that really need attention. And sometimes you might find when you stand back that you see things differently, especially if you look at the whole thing rather than just the part that you were working on when you stopped. And if you can't stand back very far, take a photograph on your phone. You'll be able to see it as though you were standing at a distance. So the first thing I'm noticing here is the width in relation to the height. It's a very simple thing, really. You would think, but it's okay if you find that I feel like she needs to come in a little bit. And you okay there, Edie?
Yes, I'm fine.
Thanks, okay. So rather than lift off anything even, I'm just going to put on a darker colour that for me lets me know where the back of the head is. So I say that, but I'm doing something different. Just when I half close my eyes there, the first thing that I see that needs to be adjusted is what I do. The first thing that calls to you to make what's here feel more like what's here. And there's the shadow, so where the hair stops and the ear starts. I think that's kind of okay in terms of distance. It's really more than the back of the head, that the back of the head seems to need to come in a little, as far as I can see. I think the back of the head needed to come in a bit there. And then there's the bit of hair that was coming down on that side. Yeah, and then there's a bit of there's more dark. Sorry. You're doing great, I feel like you're doing really well. Because I know that I find myself, and I'm years at this, making things, putting things in places, and I think, oh no, that's not it. But the main job for you is to be a cheerleader for yourself, to really tell yourself, it's okay, it's alright, that'll be fine. Do that, that's what I find myself doing all the time. Don't worry, it's okay, you've done it before, you do it another time. And don't, just to keep kind of cajoling yourself along, really, each next step, rather than giving yourself the momentous task of creating some kind of masterpiece. Just to keep yourself attentive to what's here. That's your best course of action, I find. Come back here, breathe, softness in the belly. And remember, you're kind of having fun as well. Like, you know, this is something that's not, it's new. It's only you that can see the person that sees Lily from this point. And, you know, it's kind of fresh and new, whatever you do.
But you think your head tells you when something's not the right proportion, and you know it's wrong, but you can't quite work out why. But something's telling you that you've not got it right.
Yes, it's really good to listen, isn't it? Listen into that kind of, and try and feel into it rather than figure out what it should do. Sometimes you can feel like, okay, I just want more of a, what I certainly feel here is I want more of an elegant sweep. And I feel like this was maybe splurging that way more than I wanted it to. I feel like there's a kind of an elongated thing happening, and the hair is supporting that. So that feel, when I knew the feel I wanted, I thought, what will help me to find that? And what will help me to find it is by bringing in the back length, you know, anchoring down the length here as well. Yeah, it's like a workout, you'd be worn out from it in a good way, like. Okay, so, and then when I half close my eyes again, and of course there'll be slight adjustments to this, but the hair is coming down in front, you know, almost directly below there, so it's coming forward more than I had it before as well. That feels like it creates the shape of the ear. And the ear is sitting back at the top, you know, and then just noticing the shape of this, the amount of hair that's here in the channel between the back of the ear and the back of the space behind her. Yeah. And I think there's something helpful about anchoring down the back of the body with a dark colour. Yeah, there's some different things going on there. Okay. And you kind of feel like once you've done enough there, then leave it alone, for God's sake. Once you've kind of said the thing you wanted to say, go somewhere else. And I'll get some of this burnt sienna. I don't think I was using burnt sienna earlier. I don't know what it was. I'll just clean that off. I talked about an eye, didn't I? But I think it's really... I feel like you kind of, it's helpful just to respond to what's needed and to keep the general kind of thing going. And then you can kind of work into the parts in the face. And I certainly will do an eye demonstration on its own after lunch if I don't get onto it here just now. And it might not be any harm to leave that part until after lunch, because I feel like I want to kind of, oh, that's not going to work, is it? I was going to say, I want to turn that so that sometimes you can adjust your easel so that you can leave it sitting on a diagonal for a little while in such a way that the water transports the pigment in the direction, say, of the hair here, you know. Like when I put on the burnt sienna, it just went straight down. I want it to go there. So, and I think you want to find ways of making it do stuff that's a bit different for you as well. Like I certainly feel like that myself, that it makes me feel more interested in the thing if I don't know really what's happening with it, or if you know, if oh, look at that. If things are turned on their head, even sometimes it can freshen the outlook. I don't want that happening now right through the face like that. So we'll get a clean bit of paper towel, and first just see what will happen if I was to. It's not going to lift off fully, is it? So I'll just wet it. Wet it like that. Yeah. Push it back again now. And you might find that you adjust your easel according to the part that you're working on as well. Like, you might adjust your easel if you're working on the face. You might bring it up closer. Let's see now. So let's steal some of that turquoise. Made it all wet, sorry. Make sure it's on there now, and then maybe try it. No, it doesn't really come off. I just thought I may as well put it in where I see the shoulder to be now. Okay, alright, and then, yeah, so the outside edge of that isn't really necessary, is it, to be so clear? I think that the edge that's helping me is the one that where it meets the skin. So I'm kind of just softening that a little bit before heading into the, doing a little bit more in the face then. Okay. And also remembering what's wet, but this I think is dry enough to work on. So I'm going to use the, whatever size that is now, it's the kind of middle-sized one of the set of 3. I think it's maybe a 1/2 inch. And what I'm going to do now is try and find the shape of the upper lip.
It's a difficult bit, isn't
A little bit, it needs a bit of clarity, like. So I'm just making a colour that feels a little bit warm. It's almost like burnt sienna, really. But there's 2 directions to the lip as I'm looking at it here, and one of them is going from lower right. It's kind of going up the way here, and then it comes down for the corner of the mouth. There's a little kind of reservoir of paint maybe at the corner there, and well, it looked a little bit strange for a wee while, but I think it's okay. I'm following what I see happening there. And then there's something like the nostril is about here. Oh, sugar. Would you be okay with another 4 minutes? Is that right? Yes. So I'll just do another few minutes to get some kind of completion in the lip there. 5 minutes, so 12:25 will stop, and then you'll have a 1/2 hour still before lunch. So just finding the things that are creating a bit of clarity for me, where the nose stops and the skin beyond it starts. There's a little bit of light skin beyond it. Where the lip, where the upper lip meets the lower lip, the line dividing the lips. Maybe I'll do something to describe where the nostril meets the face back here. There's a kind of a cast shadow that opens out as it comes down. Yeah, it looks a little bit funny. Okay, and then it's something to describe the shadow that's underneath. I'm kind of keeping the face with the lip there because that's what I was seeing. And I know it looks a bit unusual. But we can carve into it later anyway. Let's just see. Okay. I think I will maybe take a little bit of the, because it's zooming off there, and actually the lower lip is maybe coming in a little bit here. So using a damp brush with no, it's not dripping wet, it's just a little bit damp to describe the way that it might come in there. Okay. And then shadow beneath the lower lip then. And we just bring, I think the chin could come out a little bit further here. So finding the point in relation to the tip of the nose and the edge of the chin, just finding the direction of those 2 in relation to each other. And then maybe with my eyes half closed, noticing the shadow that undulates around the chin here. Just put a bit of water into it. So there's a triangle of light that comes in here to explain where the cast shadow of the nose onto the face stops and where the upper lip starts there. And you'll find that some colours lift off more easily than others, but it's okay, like it's coming off enough. And I think I could also maybe adjust the corner there a little bit. So it's not quite as big. Yeah. Okay, and then just a little bit of ultramarine blue into the colour that's in the palette really, but ultramarine blue mixed with the brown would do it to find something to explain the dark in between the lips there. Maybe a touch over here too. And then you could also use it elsewhere, you know, if you find it. The alarm is going to go off any second now. But if you find the same colour elsewhere, it's helpful to put that in as well. When you've got it on the brush down at the lips, you might as well disperse it around the place in two other places, and it'll stop it feeling then as though it's a really big shift in tone when you see the same colour elsewhere. Okay. Okay now. Anyway, it's alright. It's funny, isn't it? But you can, you have this sense, I think, all the way through the day of losing and finding things, and like, keep the faith, that's all. See if you can just let it dry and carve back in, and you know. And then if you're really sick of it, like you can kind of do something somewhere, somewhere else that's really quite a general mark, something that'll shift it so that, you know, you don't have to keep labouring over something up here. You can feel free to do something different, like up the colour or up the fluidity, or maybe create something, a deeper tone or something like that. I'm expecting the alarm to go off any second now. So you'll have another about a half an hour before we stop for lunch at 1 o'clock. Hope that's alright. I'm desperately grappling to find some success here. But anyway, it's grand. And so I'll maybe do that after lunch if you're still up for watching something more. But we'll stop now for another 5 minutes, and then you'll be back in action for 30 minutes and then lunch. Is that okay?
How long is lunch?
Maybe we come back at like 10 to 2, 15 minutes.
Do you have time to go into the room?
Do you need to buy something?
Well, it's just only because I'm using your stuff.
Oh, you're free to use them. No, that's fine. Yeah. I went to the range yesterday and I bought the brushes that are in the pot over there. They don't actually have any of the ones that I'd recommend. Like, they didn't have these ones,
Right.
so I bought slightly different ones.
Right.
So just use what's in the pot
Okay.
if you want to. But yeah.
I've got a spare one of those.
Oh, have you spare one of these brushes? Oh, very good.
The wider one, maybe. Maybe I've not got that size. Yeah, I've got two of
Thanks
these.
very much.
Oh no, I've not got that size.
Ah.
You've probably tried to arrange myself. Hobbycraft, they have them too, don't they?
Oh yeah, you might get them in Hobbycraft. That's true. Yeah. So there you go.
Just in my head, stay loose, stay loose.
Oh yeah.
There's a time to get, you know.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to try and keep expanding around. Thanks very much, Ben.